Good morning, everyone, and happy Friday. Thank you for joining us today. I want to welcome our guest, Lori Henkel. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right, everyone, we're going to be in webinar format today, so I'd appreciate it if you'd introduce yourselves via chat. And let's talk for a minute about what purse power is. Purse power is working to help women use their massive purchasing power to drive positive change. We believe that if women who make 80% of all purchasing decisions would choose to buy from the companies that actively promote women, and we could create a funding stream for battered women's shelters in the process, that we could shatter glass ceilings and change lives in a matter of quarters rather than decades. So that's what we're trying to accomplish. The calls are to try to connect you with each other. We're bringing in national speakers that can really share their wisdom with us, and we're all about trying to help you during this difficult time. So I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. I want to shout out to my special guests. If I've got any board members or shareholders online, thank you for being here. And let me explain what the meeting flow will be. I'm going to introduce Lori, and then again, please share your comments during chat, in the chat box. If you have any questions, just write them down, and you'll put those in the Q&A box a little later on in the program. All right, so Lori is the Charlotte Market Executive for Bank of America. And as you know, we had to reschedule her because she had to talk with Dr. Fauci a couple of weeks ago, which I was very impressed with. That's amazing. We want to learn about that. She is responsible for enabling and delivering company resources and expertise to the Charlotte community, which is where the headquarters is for Bank of America, and clients and employees. Since March, she's been leading the enterprise-wide coronavirus task force for Bank of America, and she's supporting employees, clients, and communities with impacts related to COVID-19. Prior to being named the Charlotte Market Executive, Lori designed, built, and led the Global Human Resources Life Event Services function, which helps employees and their families manage significant life events. And I'm sure that that's really impactful right now with everything that everybody's going through. Additionally, she led the employee relations managers, consultants, and advisors that provide consultation on complex issues related to performance, policy, and conduct. Lori, thank you again for being here. You're a busy lady. Thanks for taking time for us.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
All right. Very good. So we're always interested to learn more about you, more about our guests. So could you please give us a little background on your life and career? How did you get into your current role? And please tell us about your role in your journey.
Happy to. Thank you. Hi, everybody. Appreciate you taking time out of your busy Fridays to be here. Let's start, as I often do, about my family. I grew up in Charlotte, North Carolina from the age of 10 on, with moments of my life in Chapel Hill, North Carolina for college, some time in Dallas and Dayton, Ohio, before coming back to Charlotte with my family. I have been married to my best friend for 28 years and have two amazing sons. One, a graduate from Beacon College who's currently an at-home caregiver, and the other is a new senior in high school who loves the game of baseball, so a lot of time on the baseball fields. And then our immediate family is rounded out by two furry friends, one a lab dachshund mix named Bentley.
Oh, that's a combination.
Maybe a moment to think about that. And then we have a miniature blue dapple. I have been in the financial services sector for more than 20 years, a very non-traditional background that has threads pulled through around creating a great place to work, communications, change management. The last almost 13 years of my career has been with Bank of America, both in global human resources and our local market organization. In HR, as was lovely introduced at the beginning by Donna, a lot of focus on international HR merger and acquisition work, implementation of global technology tools such as a learning tool and a performance management platform, helping to create the international shared services team, building that life event services team, which is such an incredible best practice, I think, that Bank of America offers to support our employees. 2 years ago, I was asked to move into a local market organization role known as the Charlotte Market Executive. So Bank of America, in an effort to try and lead locally and break down such a huge company, we have markets across the country. They are divided into three segments. We have major markets, metro markets, and suburban markets. Each of those markets has a market president to help lead locally. Consider that the CEO locally of how we manage and support our clients, our employees, and our communities. For those market presidents, there is a market executive or market manager. Consider them the COO, if you will, to support the operations of all of those things for the market president. In the market president organization, we have three main pillars of focus. We have client, community, and employee. From a client perspective, we focus on what at Bank of America we refer to as responsible growth. How can we work together across all of our lines of businesses to support holistic needs for our clients? And how can we build a level of trust between our different teams to know that if we have a client from a line of business who needs a service that's offered from another line of business, that we're going to get the same level service, quality care that we would self-deliver to our clients. So a lot of the work we do is around how to partner together to provide holistic support for the clients. On the employee side, in Charlotte, our headquarters city, we have more than 16,000 employees, and our local market team focuses on how to make it a great place to work, irrelevant of what line of business those employees are in, and or what tier they are in the organization. We have an annual employee survey on satisfaction with working with the company. We just got our results and they are record-breaking, which makes all of us super enthusiastic about continuing the work. What we do is, for our market, we get the actual results from feedback from employees to talk about where they would like to see us improve, making it a great place to work. So for example, one of the areas we are very focused on in Charlotte is career development. It is a very large company with a lot of unique opportunities and development. And so people want to understand, how can I move from one line of business to another? How can I effectively network? So the team works to create expos, for example, where in a non-coronavirus environment, we would all come together to learn about the different lines of businesses, what competencies are required to be successful in those businesses, and meet leaders from those organizations to have networking opportunities. From a community perspective, we are very focused on leading locally. The local market teams are accountable for helping to distribute grant and sponsorship dollars to our nonprofit partners that we have, as well as consulting on other services, how to engage with our incredible volunteer network that we have. How do we take talent and skill sets of our employees at the company and lend them to the nonprofit organizations, for example? So amazing opportunity to focus and lead locally for clients, community, and employees. I've been in that role for about 2 years, and in March was asked to temporarily step away with this little thing called coronavirus. We were very focused on how to ensure the safety of our employees. So I was asked to lead a task force or project management office to help support all of the different work streams across the company to ensure that our employees are safe as we manage through coronavirus.
Okay, perfect. I really want to hear what you're doing as we talk that might be useful to these small businesses about how they handle coronavirus as well. All right, can you expand a little bit on that life services event team? I'm not saying it right. Life event services team.
Happy to. So we were many years ago, 5 years ago, focusing on the fact that HR tends to be a support function in the company. We are not revenue generating, but we were starting to shift our thinking to the fact that we indeed actually have clients, just like all of you have clients. It's just our clients actually happen to be employees of the company. And so we were looking at the whole process from onboarding an employee through their experience with us, through their career, through retirement. And we started to ask ourselves where we had opportunities to think differently about how we supported our employees. And we started to discuss this concept of moments that matter. what are things that are going on in the lives of our employees that we need to help support them through. So we came up with a crazy proposal after analyzing the escalations that our escalations team managed, looking at those employee survey results, and we realized that we were really missing the mark with some significant life events. So we knew from escalations we had an opportunity. Bank of America has an incredible leave of absence program, from a variety of things, from parental leave to family care to Olympic leave, and military leave, of course. But it was complex, and there was a lot of information and a lot of action steps that need to be taken. So we knew we needed to simplify that process. We were hearing from our employees that spent their career with us 30, 40 years, that we weren't supporting them as they were leaving and transitioning into their life of retirement, very confused about things that several of you have questions about regarding healthcare and what plans are available and what are the options. And we were in a mode of self-service. There's a lot of great outsourced partners that we have, vendors that we work very closely with to make sure they can support. And that's where we were sending our retirees for support with all of their benefits that they are entitled to. And then survivor support. We knew, sadly, in a company as large as Bank of America, we model what goes on around the world from impact to our employees. And we were realizing that we had a real opportunity to support our employee family members when our employees passed, and to support our employees when it was a family member of theirs who passed. So we put together a proposal to bring forward a life event services team that has single points of contact to help employees manage through. It's really important to share, these are not professional counselors. These are not people that can come in and counsel and advise, but we can connect them to resources who are professional counselors through our benefits programs to help and advise. This team was stood up in 2014 and has now helped more than 150,000 clients, whether it's an employee, a family member of an employee, manage through life events that have now expanded support to include transgender support. So if we have a teammate who is transitioning gender in the workplace, military support for our employees that get deployed or the family members who are employees that have partners and family members deployed, critical event support. So we'll get into this as we talk more about coronavirus and some of the practices that we have in play to share with all of you. And then one, Donna, that I know is near and dear to you, domestic violence support, to help our teammates that are either victims that feel they have a family member and don't know what to do to help support, and even in some instances, supporting abusers who want to change their behavior. So it's an incredible team that is set to support globally our employees at Bank of America. And for all of you, I know you're hopefully thinking this is such an incredible benefit that we have, but how does that help me as an entrepreneur, as a small business owner? And I would say some of the lessons that we've learned in standing up this team are applicable across the board. So one of the biggest changes that we had to put in play was realizing that although in a world of business, it seems to make so much sense to separate personal life and work life, and things sometimes would just be easier if we could do that. But in reality, it is nearly impossible when someone is going through a significant life event to expect that it won't come into the office walls. So one of our greatest lessons learned that we've had is to support teammates during these significant life events, connect them to resources that are available. And you all may not have someone readily available or an HR function that you can help support these employees, but there are local resources that you have available that you can point your employees to make sure that they have support and professional assistance to help them through these significant life events.
Yeah, and when you first told me about the life events services program that you have, I thought, I wonder how that would apply to a business owner looking at their customer. Like another way we could look at the services we provide is based on our customers' life events as
That's
well. I
exactly
wonder.
right. You are spot on. So thinking through the human connection in terms of what is going on in your clients' lives and how can you best support them with your offerings, your services, your products that you have that are available, and understanding those nuances that are taking place and being there and letting them know that you support them. We have built an entire model at Bank of America for our clients on life events and thinking through adding a new child to their family, to them needing support to send a child to college, through a personal retirement. So we have transitioned our thinking at Bank of America to focus on these life events too, and modeling the support that we provide around those life events has been very beneficial. And I think it really helps connect us to our clients.
Absolutely, and connect us as well. I think that's fantastic. Okay, so you've worked with women and women entrepreneurs for many, many years. What overall strengths and opportunities do you see for us as a group?
So I'm going to expand this a little bit, Donna. I'm going to talk about women and women leaders holistically. So first of all, we just need to continue to support each other, which is why I so appreciate having forums like this available for us to get together and share ideas with each other. You know, as women, I think we often have this sense that we need to be Wonder Woman. We need to be just completely on top of it at home, in what we do with the communities, if we have kids, with the school activities, have the best behaved pets, in our careers, be super successful, and somehow at the same time manage to make it to the gym and limit the number of carbs that we eat all at the same time. But in reality, what I've personally learned is it is nearly impossible to hit the ball out of the park in all of those areas of our lives at the same time. Something eventually has to take a back seat or take a priority for a moment. So what I wanted to share with this group today is one of the best pieces of advice that I've ever gotten that has helped me as a woman who loves the concept of being a perfectionist in all areas of my life, that has really helped me through this journey that I've been on. So my husband, Mike, was helping as I was transitioning into Bank of America. This opportunity came to help with an international merger and acquisition. At the time, we had 2 young boys, and I was very concerned about the travel that would be required, transitioning to a new culture, a new company. Did I have what it would take? The culture was very different than the company that I was coming from. And so I sat down to say, I really love this work. I, like many of you, have a very entrepreneurial spirit about me. I love to build things. And this was an opportunity to manage and build out the first international shared services organization for the company in HR. And I was really excited about the opportunity, but I had this tremendous weight about what that meant for the kids, what that meant for Mike, who also works, and having the accountability to take all that on. And he said, Lori, I want you to think about something. I want you to take this role if it's what you want to do, but I have 2 conditions. And I was like, oh, okay, let's sit down for this. And he said, the first is, if you take the job, you must do it without guilt. And I sat there and thought about that. And he said, you will not be effective leading your team, managing your role, building what you need to do, if you are over in Europe, worried about, are the kids getting ready for school or daycare? Are they getting fed? Have the dogs been fed? He said, you have to be willing to take it and understand that you're making a decision, and you have to be willing to do it without guilt, or else you won't succeed. And what is the point of doing all of this if you don't have a mission of succeeding at the end? So I said, okay, I can understand that. That's going to be very difficult for me, but I really think I can do that. What's the second condition? And he said, well, you need to realize that when you come home, things will not have been done the way you would have done them. So you can't talk about how the Tupperware is not organized and the clothes aren't aligned by color. He said, everyone will be safe, everyone will be fed, everything will get done that needs to do. It just won't be the way potentially that you would have done it, and you need to be okay with that. And that advice has carried me through so many moments of career where you're balancing a need for supporting a teammate through a critical life event, which means maybe you weren't able to be at the first couple innings of a baseball game, and realizing that it is a choice that I've made to manage this particular career. And with that, sometimes things need to balance, just like the flip side of things. I had the opportunity 2 weeks ago to head out of town to the beach for a week. And that's when we flipped on the other side and really started to focus on family for a week, not the devices, not having the computer up, not checking email every couple of minutes and responding, but really focusing on the importance of family.
Boy, that is applicable to all of us. That's great insight. Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
All right. I attended the Women in Entrepreneurship program at Cornell that you guys sponsor, and it was amazing. I learned so much. Bank of America does a lot of things to support women. You've got a lot of programs, and women of color as well. Could you please talk about some of the things you guys are doing?
Oh, I'm so happy to, and keep me honest, because this is a long topic. So I'm going to highlight some of the things, and if anybody has any additional information or questions on anything I share, please don't hesitate to reach out. So the Cornell program, great PR for us. Thank you for that. It is a partnership with Cornell, and it has allowed 20,000 women entrepreneurs free online learning to help advance their businesses. It is 6 courses that are 2 weeks apiece, and it covers things like assessing readiness for entrepreneurship, building a legal framework for success, developing leadership capacity, and enhancing communication and negotiations. I did check with the program lead before joining the call, and there is currently a huge wait list for this particular program, but I know they are working to expand seats because there is a significant need for this incredible program to be available to more. So if you are interested, you can go online, look up the Cornell Bank of America Women's Entrepreneur Program, and they'll keep you updated, and you can get on a wait list if you're interested in learning more. In addition, we have a great partnership with the Tory Burch Foundation Capital Program that helps women entrepreneurs access affordable loans to help grow their businesses. And through this program, we've had $50 million worth of loans divvied out to women across 16 different states. So we are very proud of that partnership. And it continues internally with our focus internally. We have a very large focus on the advancement of women in our company. More than half of our global workforce is women. We have 45%, almost half of our CEO direct reports are women, and 35% of our board of directors. So we still have room to go, but we are making significant progress, and I'm really proud of those statistics. Internally, we manage a similar focus on programming and learning and development for our women. Every year we have a Global Women's Symposium. It will obviously look very different this year than it has in the past, where we bring leaders, women from across the company and men from the company to come together to talk about how to advance women in the company. We have an Investing in Women Leadership Council that is comprised of senior executives across the company that serve as advisors, and they work very closely with our lines of businesses and our diversity and inclusion organization and other women-focused networks to maximize the impact that we have. And then one really strong component of our employee base, part of that Great Place to Work initiative that we talked about, we have many employee networks or affinity groups that are employee groups led by our employees, and they have sponsorship from amazing leaders across the company. And our largest group is called LEAD, the Leadership, Education, Advocacy, and Development. And it helps promote, attract, develop, and retain female professionals in our company. It is our largest network with more than 31,000 members. And then, of course, Donna, I would be completely remiss if I didn't give a shout out to my HR partners and the incredible benefits that they've put in play, particularly focusing on supporting women. 16 weeks of parental leave. We have child and adult care reimbursement, backup child care programs, and our most recent addition around family planning reimbursement for adoption, fertility, and surrogacy, which is just huge. So I could spend a lot of our time today talking about the incredible programs that we sponsor within the bank as well as externally, Donna, but I think I'll leave you with those highlights.
It's amazing. I love Bank of America. You guys really are the leader. You've got a ton of best practices that I hope other companies will learn about and try to bring into their own organizations. It's amazing. All right, so how is Bank of America supporting its employees and customers during COVID-19? I know this is really your area of focus right now.
Yeah, it is incredible how we have focused. We've always had very strong, as I'm sure all of you in your business planning have, strong continuity planning for events that come up, whether it's a natural disaster that comes into play, potentially a horrible act of gun violence that occurs. And so we have these plans that we test every year. We have a very robust organization under my current leader that manages our response and our resiliency as it relates to impacts. And there was a uniqueness that came into play with coronavirus being a pandemic. We realized that some of the plans we have in play for business continuity simply would not work with a global pandemic. Some of our operation sites have backup locations. So if we have bad weather in one location, we can transition the operations to a backup center or to one of our other centers that we have. You can't necessarily do that during a global pandemic. So we've been very focused with our absolute number one focus, keeping our employees and our clients safe during the pandemic. So we started with transitioning employees from an in-office posture to working from home. And as we managed the employee by employee analysis of who had the ability to work from home, where could we allow working from home if we provided the right technology and the right learning? So we, at the end of the day, transitioned to where we had approximately 80% of our global workforce working from home. And we ensured that they had the right technology and learning, and none of that was really in play. We actually had some great firsts regarding our support for our clients with how we transitioned some of our employees to be able to support external clients from a home work environment. But for those remaining in the office, really important to let them know, Brian Moynihan, our CEO, called them our heroes. They were the ones that are in our financial centers that are continuing to interact with our clients and make sure that their needs were met. So we wanted to make sure that we were focusing on ensuring they were safe if they were asked to stay in the office, making sure that we had proper PPE, personal protection equipment, masks available, gloves if people were handling cash transactions. We needed to make sure that we were attesting to the wellness of our employees. We have incredible medical experts that have consulted with us, and we've been very focused to ensure that we try and keep the virus out of the workplace. The advice that they gave to us was, if you have funding that you need to make decisions on, put that funding on preventing the virus from coming in the workforce. That will be your biggest bang for the buck, and it will have the most significant impact to prevent the spread. Making sure that in our locations where we have employees, people are properly physical distanced. So a big work effort with our corporate real estate partners to ensure our employees could sit 6 feet apart, and that we had signage to demonstrate where we didn't have common areas that were available for use, how many people in our elevators could safely be in there, and of course wearing a mask while they're there. We also wanted to make sure that our employees in the office knew how much we appreciated what they were doing. So our global corporate services team supported providing 3.5 million meals to our associates in the office, either through a stipend in the cafes or through boxed meal programs that we coordinated to ensure that employees in all of our financial centers could get lunch every day, knowing that sadly, some of the local area restaurants that they would go to were closed because of coronavirus. In addition, we talked before just with life event services and some of the amazing benefits. We have continued that with our coronavirus support, looking at ways that we can ensure commuter reimbursement for employees if we're needing them to work in a different location, a different office building than they're used to working, and making sure that those working from home can get reimbursement for additional internet expenses. I mean, things that we hadn't initially thought of, but as employees were working from home, they started to raise their concerns. They had a lot of school-age children our employees had at home at the end of last school year, and they were on e-learning using the internet and the services. So we needed to make sure our employees had what they needed to manage. And then, of course, just amazing medical benefits around general medicine and behavioral health consultants and emotional wellness resources that have been available. And then we just recently announced an expansion of our backup care benefits and our child care benefits to help all of our working parents that are at home or being asked to go in the office and have children who will be at home with school-age kids. So Donna, I just want to give a shout out to all of our viewers who are parents of young kids that need to be educated from home. Mine is a senior in high school, and that has struggles in and of itself, but I have amazing respect for those that are also working to balance these young kids. And then of course now, Donna, we're very focused on starting to think about how we'll return our employees safely back into a work environment and continuing to look at ensuring the wellness of our employees, our clients, and our leaders. And then from a client perspective, which I think will be of particular interest for our viewers today, we have processed more than 1.7 million payment deferrals through our expanded client assistance program. And Bank of America has provided more than $25 billion, that's B, billion in loans to more than 330,000 small business clients through the Paycheck Protection Program, which makes us the largest PPP provider in the US. And we've also had extended the reach of our direct lending business by working with the Community Development Financial Institution, the CDFIs, which make loans and provide technical assistance to borrowers who may lack traditional financing, including some of our small business clients and affordable housing partners, fresh food supermarkets and primary health care centers, and community facilities, of course, in economically disadvantaged communities. At the end of March, we made a commitment to provide $250 million in capital to CDFIs to fund the Paycheck Protection Program loans that CDFIs are making as SBA lenders. From that, $220 million in deposits and credit facilities, as well as minority depository institutions, which is huge. And then one near and dear to me with my Charlotte market executive hat on, $10 million in philanthropic grants to help fund operations and help with modifications and payment deferrals for CDFIs facing those liquidity challenges and ensuring that they have the capital that they need to lend throughout the crisis. And then finally, again, on the philanthropic side, we committed $100 million to support our local communities in need as we face this just unprecedented challenge with coronavirus. These funds are going to help with medical response capacity in our local communities, address food insecurities, access learning as a result of school closures, and provide support literally to our vulnerable populations around the world. So some incredible support from a coronavirus perspective, some of which has been new, and it has caused us to have to think differently about how we support our employees and our clients.
Wow. Just quickly, Victoria Woods, the financial diva, has a question. How long do you believe the temporary closing of branches of Bank of America locations will be closed? Any idea?
So our financial centers have been open the entire time this coronavirus has taken place. Now, we have had to temporarily shut certain locations based on impacts of the virus, based on where employees have been impacted and we haven't had. But those are being monitored every day by our amazing consumer operations team, monitoring where we need to support our employees, bringing in our ATM machines to make sure that we have access in banking. But we have been open the whole time thanks to our amazing teammates that have continued to come into the financial centers and support our clients.
Wow, that's awesome. That is awesome. All right, guys, be capturing your questions. I'm going to ask her one more and then it'll be your turn. How do you think we can best navigate these difficult dynamics of change, both for ourselves and our employees? It's tumultuous for small business owners. What should we be focusing on?
Yeah, it's such a great question. Change is so hard, isn't it? It seems like it just, change is constant. And so it seems like everyone should just always be on board, but it is so hard to navigate. So the one great lesson that I've learned through my career, particularly at Bank of America, is that to support any significant change, you need to really take time to think through who your stakeholders are and what impacts they're experiencing as a result of that change. At Bank of America, we call it change adoption. It's the communication plans, the training, the stakeholder engagement plans that need to take place anytime we execute a change. I share with my teams all the time, you can implement the best project, you can bring forward the best product for your clients. But if people are not prepared for how something will be different, it does not matter if you are on time, on budget, and hit every single requirement that was originally laid out on the project plan. If you do not successfully bring people along on the journey, you ultimately will have failed in terms of successfully implementing change. So I strongly encourage everyone, irrelevant of what the change is, it's all about communications. Really take time at the beginning of the change that you're getting ready to implement to think through all of the changes. And some of them could be really positive changes. And those would be the things that you would focus on to help bring people along and build excitement around finding those advocates in your process, particularly if it's a difficult, complex process that you're implementing. And then identify where there are neutral changes and decide if they are relevant or not to let the stakeholders know that you've thought about their perspectives and you understand their current experience and are driving what will change. And then the negatives, guys, you need to talk about the negatives. It is one of the most valuable things you can do to develop trust among your stakeholders. Instead of ignoring what could possibly be negative about the change, hit it head on, acknowledge it, and acknowledge what you're going to do to address it. And it's not always going to be the message that your stakeholders want to hear. Sometimes in technology implementations, there are just things that cannot be done with the technology that's being implemented. It would be lovely that you would love to push this button and have this beautiful package come out at the end. Here's what the actual experience will be, and here's what we're going to work towards to improve that going forward. If you can address those negatives out of the gate, people will then automatically understand and be informed and be ready for the changes that are coming. And it minimizes then all the back end time of managing the swirl, the escalations, the noise. You get everyone on board, or at least understanding what's coming, and it makes that change so much easier to manage. And then from a human perspective, It's all about caring for yourself and making sure that your employees are caring for themselves during change, both physically and mentally. We have been so focused, and I've been so fortunate at Bank of America to have such incredible resources focusing on our mental wellness, especially during this crazy time of coronavirus. There's so much anxiety, so many things that are being done differently, really focusing on how you can mentally be at your best to not only help others, but ensure that you are caring the best for yourself as you manage through. There's one item that I will share with you from a lesson learned. At one of those leadership offsites that I talked to you about earlier, we had the opportunity to have Dan Harris come and talk to us. For those of you who may or may not know, Dan Harris is an award-winning journalist and news anchor. And he wrote a book called 10% Happier: How I Tamed the Voice in My Head, Reduced Stress Without Losing My Edge, and Found Self-Help That Actually Works. And this is an incredible book. If you've not read it, I really encourage you to do so. It talks about his personal journey. It's a real life story. But at the end of the day, it talks about his embracing the concept of meditation. And so he's telling his story, and we're all getting very moved about how he managed through addiction and how he went on this journey of self-help. And then he had someone on stage with him, and he said, now we're going to actually go through this exercise. And I am looking around the room at some of our senior executives and some of my colleagues. And I said, there is no way this is going to work. We're literally sitting at one of these conferences, and they took 5 minutes to run through a very simple meditation that simply got you to focus on breathing. It is one of the simplest things to do that can take just literally 4 counts in, hold it for 4 counts, 4 counts out. So I instantly became very intrigued with this concept, and it is something that I've personally adopted that really helps me through all of this change, through all of this anxiety, through all of this continuous noise that's going on around us, to just be able to step away. There's a lot of online apps that you can find one that you like, and it doesn't need to be hours of meditation on day. It can just be a quick 5-minute refresh to mentally reset your focus on where you're at. So I encourage all of you to participate and focus on your overall physical and mental wellness, as well as all of this change is taking place around us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The other thing I was thinking as you were talking is it's useful also to express your own experience of change with people, to be open about that, right? Because people feel like they're alone. They think that they're the only ones feeling the way they are, when in reality it's kind of all of us, right?
That's right.
Okay, you guys, why don't you go ahead and ask some questions? Just put them in the Q&A box, please. And then as they're coming up with the questions here, let's see here. Is there anything about the focus beyond the change that you think that small business owners should be focused on right now?
Absolutely. So first and foremost, it's resources that are available. There are so many resources that are out there. So just at bankofamerica.com, we have a small business community that has right now resources to help you deal and lead through coronavirus as a small business. Articles from industry experts around how to get the biggest bang for your social media platforms right now, how to keep your employees motivated during these times, how best to come up with a longer term strategy to return when we start seeing the virus hopefully move to a place where we have vaccines and we get back to what will be our new norm. I won't say we'll get back to norm, because I think this is going to have impacts on us always. So take a look at those resources, but then there's many online, and really do your research. In addition, to me, it is all about culture building at this point in time. So look at your employees, be empathetic, understand what they're going through and how they're dealing with it. This is the best time for you to be a human leader. And it doesn't mean that you take hours and hours, but just check in with your employees. How are they feeling? Do they need anything? How are the parents that are home with the kids for school managing? And then make sure you're aware of different resources that are available to support them. I guarantee that human connection is going to make such a difference in the overall lives of your employee. And of course, digital. Donna, you've had several amazing speakers that have talked about the importance of ensuring the digital platform that you have can help best run efficiencies of your operations and provide the best experience for your clients. Take a look at how you're spending your social media dollars. People are on social media, they're at home, they're hanging out, but there's something that needs to draw their attention. You have to do business in a different way with your clients. They're no longer meandering through the stores. They're no longer just kind of hanging out with extra time. They're very purposeful with what they're looking for now when they go look online. So how can you stay connected and keep your customers feeling engaged with a social media strategy that you have in play? And of course, I'm going to say, make sure that you have an incredible financial services partner and provider by your side that understands what you are trying to accomplish as a small business. And that also supports, here's the theme, the technology that you need to run your business efficiently, and that can provide the right resources for you to help grow your overall businesses.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Guys, please do share your questions. And then the other thing the thought that came to me while you were talking is some of the business owners have told me that they feel awkward trying to sell right now when people are losing jobs and don't have a lot of money and are worried about having a roof over their head. But they are reaching out to their customers and checking in on their customers as a way of building that relationship. So you can do it internally with your employees and also with customers.
All about human leadership.
Yeah. Great point. All right, guys, do you have any questions? You're welcome to put them in chat instead. All right, I'm going to keep asking while they come up with their questions here. All right, so what are the top things you want us to be inspired to do after this call?
Oh, okay, so the first thing I would love each of you to do is to create a little no guilt sign. Just write no guilt or guilt with the circle and the line through it, and keep it where you work on a regular basis as a reminder that we can only do so much at a single time with our focus, with our dedication, with our alignment to wanting to be perfect at everything we're doing. Give yourself permission to manage where your priorities are without guilt. I challenge everyone over the weekend between now and Sunday evening to find one activity that will help with your overall mental wellness. One activity. It can be stand up after you've been on email for hours and take a walk. It can be watching funny dog videos if that gives you relief. It can be researching a meditation app. But I challenge everyone to find one activity. It doesn't need to be ginormous, just one small activity to start to take care of yourself, particularly from a mental wellness perspective. And then, of course, I want to just say thank you to the viewers who are already Bank of America customers. We are so grateful that you have hung in with us through the good and through the bad. And for those of you that are not Bank of America customers, I hope you've at least been inspired to understand the focus that our company has, not only on providing incredible support and helping our clients grow their businesses responsibly and manage their personal finances and attain their goals, but how behind the scenes we take care of our employees so that they can take care of our clients, and how we support our local communities. And we've had a lot of dialogue as we've been focusing, particularly in Charlotte for the last several years, and now it is an enterprise-wide initiative on focusing on economic mobility in our communities. And just really understanding, we've been saying it cannot be one person, one organization, one company that moves the needle and changes the landscape. We all have to work together. So my final moment of inspiration after leaving would be to think about how you can partner up with other small businesses to drive change in the community, focus on what's important. Think about sharing resources. We're sharing that all the time as we're consulting with our nonprofit partners in the community, to think about ways where they all have similar needs. How can they work together to help with their operations while all making sure that they're supporting what their particular cause and mission is?
Excellent, excellent. And by the way, Victoria is saying she's proud of being a customer of yours. Let's see here. Julie Villa is saying, congrats on the excellent work. Do you remember what ended up being the change point when Bank of America started to achieve the preferred place to work status? So what enabled you to drive that change?
So, I mean, so many incredible things. The benefits for sure have been consistently one of the items highlighted in our employee sat survey, related to the parental care and leave that we talked about. Things like the life event services team. I know I'm a little biased because I had incredible people help me build that team out, but it is a game changer for how we support our employees in crisis and through significant life events. And we know it gets called out in the employee sat survey. People tell us stories about how that support has literally gotten them through. And in some cases, I know this may sound dramatic, but we have been told by some of our clients, particularly on the DB side, the support of that team has literally saved their lives. And so I think when you put a focus around your employees, you look at diversity and inclusion. We've been for years hosting what we call courageous conversations at the company to talk about diversity and inclusion, to talk about unconscious bias, to talk about conversations that are simply uncomfortable but need to be had in order for us to move the needle and move forward and figure out what we need to do so that we have equality across our company, both from a gender perspective, from a race perspective, make sure that everyone at Bank of America feels like they can bring their whole self to work.
Okay. Another question here. Let's see here. Can you speak to the process for the forgiveness of the PPP loans for your customers?
Yeah, and actually, whoever asked this question, I'm happy to connect you offline if you have specific questions about the process or how we've managed. I've got incredible partners that have been managing that side of the house. I've been helping more with the alignment of talent to help be able to support all of those clients and how we have redirected some of the talent that's been impacted by coronavirus to be able to take their competencies and their skills to move over and help support the clients. But if you want actual direction in terms of how we've been supporting beyond what we've been doing behind the scenes to prepare for that support, connect with me offline and I will get you connected with one of my amazing teammates at the bank.
Okay, perfect. All right, any other questions, guys, for now? All right, in the meantime, if people have questions or want to learn more about doing business with Bank of America, what are their next steps? So beyond contacting you, it sounds like you've got some websites you can refer them to. What do you want them to do?
bankofamerica.com, there is contact us. It is broken out by, there is a small business section that is incredible that talks about the products and services and gives you all of the different ways that you can connect with Bank of America to talk about how we can help you, help your clients, help your business, and help you with your personal finances and growth. So that is the best resource out there is bankofamerica.com. Contact us section. And then please don't forget, I know I've already mentioned it, but it's worth saying again, the small business community online that is in the small business section that has those incredible resources, particularly right now focused on what you can do as a small business owner, as an entrepreneur, as we are dealing with this crazy coronavirus that's out there.
Boy, that sounds really helpful. All right, let's see here. Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
I would just like to thank you, Donna. This is an incredible opportunity. I've had so much fun connecting with you and sharing with your viewers and listeners all that we have done from what I consider a best practice perspective, but hopefully there have been some really strong opportunities I am clear that not everybody will have resources and assets to be able to build a life event services team to provide. But the concept of being there to support your employees and your clients through significant moments that matter, that does not matter what size your company is, that value and mission will just expand your client loyalty and support and help grow your business. So I just thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, the pleasure's been mine. Pleasure's been mine. The other thing I'd like to say is your work around domestic violence, I mean, it really is state of the art. And I think that we need to publicize that somehow, because your ability to move employees around and support them if they're facing it, I think is incredible and unusual. So good job.
Thank you. Yeah. That team does incredible work crossing with many partners across the bank, from corporate security that helps victims create safety plans as they're coming into the building, and making sure that we are supporting any restraining orders that have been issued, connecting for sure to our counselors through our employee assistance program that we offer. But like you shared, if someone who is a victim has decided that their safety plan is to move to another location, we will do what we can to support them with a job search at Bank of America in that new location, to make sure that they can be safe, to make sure that their families are safe, and that they can continue to support. So I appreciate that. One of the unique factors as well, not just around support in our bank, we have a very strong partnership with some of our nonprofits around domestic violence. And one of the things that we've managed is an employer's workshop that focuses on how to have, irrelevant of where a company is in the spectrum of supporting employees with domestic violence. Some, it's not even a topic of conversation yet, all the way through those like a Bank of America that are setting up specific programs. These education programs around sharing of best practices and how to start the conversation, what resources are available in the community, are all incredible things that can be utilized by all of you as well as you start that journey. Thank you, Donna. I appreciate the call out for that particular work stream. As you can tell, I'm a little passionate about it.
Me too. And I will publicize that. I want to get a hold of that, and I want to publicize it. Okay.
Thank you.
So thank you so much, Lori. Really appreciate you being here today. You were fantastic.
Thank you.
Thanks to all of our attendees and special guests. I just want to let you know some of our upcoming programs. So on August 28th, we're going to have authors and playwrights, Lucy Lynch and Marcia Mager. They're authors and playwrights of Money Talks, but what the heck is it saying? Actually, hell is it saying? And we're going to go ahead and roll that out with them, so I hope you can attend. On September 4th, we're going to do a pure networking meeting. September 11th, we've got Deepa Sarajamal. She's the CEO of Reflections. It's a high-tech firm in India. She's one of the leaders in their country. Please sign up for a directory listing on pursepower.com if your company has a female CEO or president, or is half owned by women, or has at least 20% women on the board. We want you on our directory. Please do download our Google Chrome extension if you want to find and buy from these companies when you shop online. And please be sure to use the Purse Power directory to find and buy from women-owned and women-led companies. We want you to please like and share our social media pages. Let your friends know about this weekly broadcast. We do it every Friday at 10 Central. And above all else, please remember, Purse Power, we have it. Let's use it. Thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next week. Thanks again, Lori.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye, everybody.